Okay, so for this assignment, this focuses on working with triads to create a production, a record. So the main focus musically is going to be about note value, also melody creation, harmony, and on the technical side, step recording and a lot of other functions that I'll talk through. So I have an older version of GarageBand here. So we're going to start with an empty project. This would also work in terms of any other DAW you may be using. So Logic is almost exactly this, just a lot more robust, a lot more libraries and functions. So I'm going to go to Software Instrument. Okay, it's going to pull up the musical type in. We're going to use that just for simplicity. And so the first thing that I'm going to have you do, or that I have students do, is they're going to click inside of the ruler here, turn on that cycle function. All right, and these are the first 4 measures. Automatically, it'll set it up like that. I think what's best, I guess, for the scope of this assignment, what I'm going to do is just reduce it to 1 measure for now, and then we'll zoom in and we'll keep things simple. So what I have students do is then pick a triad. I'm going to use D minor. Okay, so that's going to be, all right, and it doesn't matter what instrument they start with, they can, switch it after the fact. In order to add or create, I have to hit the command key on a Mac. I'm using the Mac right here. So clearly, because we're on GarageBand, and I'm going to click. So it's going to give me 1 measure. And then I'm going to double click on this MIDI region, and it's going to bring up the piano roll at the bottom. All right, I'm going to create a D note. Okay, so I'm going to hold command so that I have a pencil. All right, and I'm going to add that note. So right now it looks like I'm in the 2nd octave. So I'm going to bring that down to let's go with the 1st octave. And so we're going to go to D1. If you see this pop-up window here, it'll tell you exactly what note you're on. Okay, so I'm going to go with D1. Okay, and I'm going to make it, let's make these quarter notes for now. Okay, and so I'll have D. So I need DFA. So I'm going to go ahead and add the next one. Okay, and by default, no matter what note you add or the last note you add, it's going to try to repeat the note that you just made, the note value. So these are quarter notes because 4 of these from end to end would equal 1 measure. So you have 1 measure because you went from the 1 to the 2. So you have basically 1 unit of music, right? So, or written music. So I'm gonna go for the A note. Okay, and then I'm just gonna repeat that. I'm gonna go D, F, A, and I'm gonna go back to D for the last one. All right, so let's loop it. Okay, good. So now I have my metronome on. I usually have people leave it on just so that they can kind of stick with the rhythm. All right, so now I have my first track. We're gonna add another one. Okay, so we used quarter notes in the 1st octave. So now for this one, what we're gonna do is repeat the process. I'm gonna hold command, add another track, double click, and we're gonna use 8th notes in the 3rd octave, let's say. Okay, so I'm gonna hold command, and it's gonna give me another D note, but it's still giving me quarter notes. So I'm gonna go half of that. Okay, and then I'm gonna go F, and then I'm gonna go A. All right, so another trick that you could use, since we're just repeating this, right? Another trick that you could use is just copy and paste. So to highlight, what you want to do is get, to highlight, you're going to click and hold the mouse past the region, top and bottom that you want, until you get them all highlighted. So now they're highlighted. The playhead is lined up right where I'm going to paste it. So I'm going to hold Command C. All right, that's going to copy it, then Command V. Now I have it again. So I'm just going to continue to copy it, but this last piece I'm not going to need, so I'll just delete it. Okay, and I'll squash that back down so that fits. Okay, so let's play what we have. Okay, all right, so we're going to do this one more time. So we're going to add another track. Okay, and so that was the 3rd octave. We're going to create a blank MIDI region. Okay, so we started off with quarter notes. We moved on to eighth notes in the second track. And now for the third track, we're gonna use some 16th notes. Again, it's gonna try to create the last note value that I had. So I'm gonna slice that in half. Okay, I'm gonna use D5 to start. Drag that up, there we go. And it's gonna snap here, have snap on. So we're gonna go ahead. All right, and then I'm gonna use that same method of copy and pasting to save us a little bit of time here. So I'm gonna drag the playhead right where I want the paste to happen. Hold Command, press C. I know that they're highlighted because they're lit up. Okay, if not, they'll be the dark green. So now I have the light green there. Boom. Okay, I'll do it again. All right, get rid of the excess. And then I'll hover the mouse over the end of the MIDI region so that it becomes a bracket. When I'm in the middle, it's a pointer. You kind of select with it. If I hold Command, it becomes a pencil. I can create new notes with it, right? So let's make sure they're all lined up. Okay, let's listen to them all together. Okay. All right, so we're all set. So we have our melody. Everything is harmonized because we're using the same chord. Everything's based on that triad, which is D minor, D, F, A on a real piano. The musical typing kind of gives you these odd letterings, but they just correspond, to what is on your actual keypad here. But you would need to know or teach that. And so my students are usually pretty familiar with the piano, the layout, and the real note names prior to doing this, okay? So after they have that laid out, the next thing to do is to choose different instruments. The lower octave, I'm gonna always have them choose a bass. So we'll just pick upright bass for now. I don't know how well that's gonna get picked up. So let's go to the synthesizer library and let's get something that's a little bit easier to hear. So we'll go. Okay, that should do the trick. All right, so for the middle one, let's go piano with it. Piano, Steinway. Okay, and the top one, let's make it strings. So we're gonna synthesize it. Let's do strings. Let's see what this sounds like. Not a big fan there. So let's go with a lead. Okay, that works. All right, so let's make a little mix of our melodic parts. So let's do additive mixing really quickly. Okay, good. So now we don't need the metronome anymore. And what we're gonna do, let me just remind me tomorrow. There you go. All right, so we're gonna go into the loop library here in the transport panel. So your transport panel has a few different things we can get into that in another video. But over on the right-hand side, you're gonna see you have a notepad here. You can take notes, which I have students do sometimes, depending. You can control your libraries over here on the left. Okay, the help bubbles, which are really good if the student needs help a lot and they're constantly raising their hand, or you're trying to teach yourself a little bit more, anything you put your mouse over will light up. And so now you kind of get an idea at least what the name of it is and what it does. I find it to be a little bit irritating, let's say, or annoying or distracting. So I turn it off most of the time. It's not really on there. All right, so we're gonna go to the loops and let's choose instrument. Okay, we'll say, let's go beats, and let's make the genre hip hop for now. Keep it simple. And I usually don't have them choose these drummer tracks because as you cut them and paste them, they tend to get a little strange. I think there is a way that you can kind of print them to a wave or adjust them, but I'm not sure. So I have them stick with the the waves already that are already, I have them stick with the wave files because they're a little bit easier to control when we get into putting this together or arranging it. So let's see. Okay. All right, so we have that going. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take these 1-bar patterns and we're gonna loop them for 4 measures in total. And then we're gonna take, let's hide this loop library here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take, come on, work with me. There we go. We're gonna shorten our drum sequence. So now we have 4, and then we're gonna make sure that our cycle mode covers it. The cycle region covers everything we've got. Okay, so there you have it. So now they have their basic loop that they can then arrange into their first song assignment. So I like that this covers a lot of different, it touches a lot of different bases. And in the description, I'll go ahead and put any relevant, in the description, I'm gonna put any relevant vocabulary or concepts that you can embed into this lesson. So let's give it a listen. And they're usually pretty proud of this. I have them use this, basically it's an arpeggio up pattern. You can do down, you can give them whatever pattern you like, or alternating pattern. And so to take this and to take your loop and then translate it into a basic song structure, a song arrangement, what you're gonna do is start with your loop. I like 4-bar chunks. It's very easy for students to work with. So I'm gonna take this here. I'm gonna copy all 4 at once. And then we're going to paste at least up to 32. Okay, so this is a very simple way I have them do it so that they don't have to use automation, right? So we're gonna take the first 8 measures, 8 bars. We're gonna take out the drums. Okay, then they're gonna take out the lead melody. And for us, that's pretty much track 2. Okay, cancel, all right. And let's take out the first 4 measures of bass, and let's see what this sounds like. Okay, not bad. It's not gonna necessarily win any Grammys or anything, but it's a basic structure for them to follow. They like to hear when the beat drops and things like that. So you give them that first little 8-bar intro with 2 instruments coming in, and then the second 8 bars. And then we take out the main melody, which we're saying is piano, at least for this particular assignment. And then you could have them drop out anything. Actually, I have them choose. It could be a bass. It could be, what is this here we have here? Oh, we got the lead here. So let's see what it sounds like if I take out one or the other. All right. Okay, I thought that was the piano that I took out. I need to make sure to put that back. Okay, so let's take out the piano. Good. So then they have pretty much their project is done at that point. So now definitely you can build off of this, venture away from this. I add in, additional concepts. Students build up the amount of tracks that they're working with. Some students are very ambitious and they use not just three different octaves. They'll use 4 or 5, or I require them to, stack instruments and do things like that, right? So I'm gonna copy this complete 24-bar chunk to make it song length. Make sure that I have track 1 highlighted. I'm gonna paste it again. And so now they'll be able to kind of have this song structure built up, and they can turn off the cycle mode and listen to it from beginning to end. From time to time, I will have them use the automation to kind of fade it in and fade it out, but it's not absolutely necessary. So, but yeah, that's it. Basically, a simple track based off of any triad. I like to choose the minor chords specifically. They just tend to sound a little better. And then, they can build from that. So they get some song arrangement as well.